Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Nick Push. Welcome to my second versus video. Today we are talking The Batman versus The Dark Knight. Two very popular Batman movies for very different reasons, both critically acclaimed, and like I said, both just extremely popular. So, before I get into my ranking and my ranking system and categories, do me a favor, comment down below. Tell me which of these two movies do you think is better, or which one you'd like better, which one you'd rather watch, whatever. Tell me which one you think is a better Batman movie. And let's get into my ranking.
If you like horror, hit that notification bell, smash that like button, and push that subscribe button now.
So, as always, guys, whenever you do a video like this, whether it's a ranking video, a versus video, whatever, these opinions are all subjective, right? This is going to be my opinion based on the categories of my choosing, which of these movies did a better job in these categories. So, let's get right into it. Let's bring up our scoreboard and let's go over the categories. We have main villain, story, Bruce Wayne, Batman portrayal, secondary villains, Batsuit, Alfred, Gotham, and action sequences. And that'll obviously lead us to our winner. So we got 9 categories. So let's kick this off with the top one, main villain. So in the Batman, we had the Riddler. This is kind of a villain I've always wanted to see in a Batman movie. It's darker, he's this is not Jim Carrey's Riddler. He's fucking brutally killing people. He's setting up traps with riddles to solve. He's leaving notes for the Batman that are just intricate riddles, obviously, for him to solve, that leads to another riddle for him to solve and leads to another, and he's got to put the puzzle pieces together where people are going to viciously die. Versus Heath Ledger's Joker. Now, Heath Ledger obviously died before this movie came out, right? So there's a lot of nostalgia people have for it. But it's well warranted because Heath Ledger's Joker is phenomenal. We've obviously had many portrayals of the Joker before Heath Ledger, and we've had a few portrayals of the Joker after Heath Ledger. But when it comes to the Joker and what people remember as the Joker, I know a lot of people are going to choose Jack Nicholson. I get that. Nicholson was great in Tim Burton's Batman. But Heath Ledger was on another level. So, who wins? Main villain, we have the winner is The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger's Joker wins. I love the Riddler, but I couldn't go against Ledger in this. So, next, story. Essentially, we have, the story of The Dark Knight is basically the Joker, essentially burning the city to the ground, showing everyone that, everyone's corrupt, and, it's just, as Alfred says, some people just want to watch the world burn. And it fucking works for this movie. Like, it's awesome. Versus the story of the Batman, where the Riddler is, essentially having these puzzle pieces, solved to lead to the bigger corruption of Gotham City. For me, I'm going the Batman for story because it's just a darker tale. It's very intricate the way the story kind of unwinds, and the pieces are solved, and the way things work. I just like the story of this movie better than I like the story of The Dark Knight. Nothing against The Dark Knight. Both of these movies. If they're not winning a category, it doesn't mean that whatever category I'm talking about, it doesn't mean that they're subpar in that category. It just means that the other movie did it better, and there's no shame in that because these are both great Batman movies. So let's get to Bruce Wayne. We have emo Bruce Wayne in the Batman. Not really much Bruce Wayne here. He's kind of angry at the world. He's early in his Batman career. He's got the long shaggy hair. We don't get much of him. We see him kind of being a dick to Alfred. We see him show up at the funeral of, I can't remember who it was, one of the councilmen or something like that. Versus the Batman, Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight, where we get a lot of him. We get a lot of him talking with Alfred. We get him on the boat. We get Christian Bale does such a good job with Bruce Wayne. I think, and for me, this is no contest. This is easily the Dark Knight, just because we didn't get to see a lot of the Batman's Bruce Wayne. So maybe in the sequel we'll get to see more of it. But for me, this is a slam dunk in the Dark Knight's favor. So let's go Batman portrayal here. We got the Bat voice with Bruce Wayne. He's good. I think what he did in the first movie was a little bit better, but I got no complaints with Bale's Batman. Obviously, the dark, the deep voice and all kinds of shit. Gets a lot of. It's become kind of a meme and a joke, but it works fine for the movie. Versus the portrayal of Robert Pattinson, which is just very dark and just fucking brutal. So for me, Pattinson wins this just because, as I said earlier, with the Riddler, it's kind of like this is a Batman I've always wanted to see, where he's just dark, taking no prisoners. The people that Batman is saving in the Batman are just as scared of him as the criminals are, at least until the end, which is pretty cool. So the Batman wins Batman portrayal. Secondary villains. You forget because, the Riddler and the Joker take up so much screen time and just kind of steal the show of these movies that there's secondary villains here. In the Batman, we got Colin Farrell's the Penguin, who's a fucking great character. I loved what they did with the Penguin here. You got Falcone in this. John Turturro does a great job at playing Falcone. There's so much to like here, especially with the crime going on in the city, and they're kind of like the mob and things like that. They do an excellent job with this. Excellent job. Versus the secondary villains in The Dark Knight, where you have Two-Face and Aaron Eckhart playing Harvey Dent, and you see how awesome he is at the beginning as the district attorney Harvey Dent, where he's just a symbol for what's good in Gotham, and then the Joker fucking essentially, he doesn't corrupt him, but you see his downfall, and it's scary to see what a good man does when he loses everything, when he loses faith in everything, and when he has nothing to lose, and when he's angry. So for me, I gotta go with The Dark Knight here because I just love Aaron Eckhart's performance. Brings us to Batsuit, as we are tied at 2 right now, guys. Batsuit in The Dark Knight. Batsuit is perfect for Bale, right? It looks great on him. I got no complaints here. I'm not really a huge Batsuit guy, but when you're doing a Batman versus video or a Batman ranking video, you always got to talk about the Batsuit. The Dark Knight did nothing wrong with the Batsuit, but as I choose the Batman here, the Batman's Batsuit is pretty fucking badass. It kind of fits his badass personality here, where he's just, like I was saying earlier with his portrayal, he's just scary and mean. And there's that scene at the beginning where he beats the fuck out of all those guys, and you hear him walking, just boom boom, you hear his steps, and it's just fucking brilliantly done. And the Batsuit fits that, so I'm going with the Batman for the Batsuit. Brings us to Alfred, guys. Alfred in the Batman played a role. He helped solve a lot of the Joker's riddles. So he played, an integral role. And he actually obviously got blown up a little bit at the end. He survived, but he got blown up at the end. And he was kind of dealing with, like I could call them before, like the joke is, it's emo Bruce Wayne. So he's dealing with, I don't want to say he's like a teenager, but he's dealing with a younger Bruce Wayne that hasn't figured it out yet. He knows he's angry at the world for what happened to his parents. And I thought Alfred was good in this movie. But for me, I loved what Michael Caine's Alfred in the Dark Knight and that trilogy. And he just has so many great lines in here. I mentioned earlier, some people just want to watch the world burn. He obviously burns the note from Rachel to protect Bruce. He just plays more of an integral role as a mentor to Bruce Wayne and Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy so far. So I'm going Michael Caine as Alfred. Gotham the City. Okay. I like Gotham the City in The Dark Knight. You know, you essentially, it was filmed in Chicago, I believe. A lot of the portions were filmed in Chicago, so you got all the tall buildings. You got, kind of the fallout from Batman Begins, with Morgan Freeman's character and, Wayne Enterprises and all that plays an integral role in the city. It's fantastic. Versus the Batman, where it's just a dark, gritty city, and it fits the movie because I hate to use the word again here, but gritty. It's just the tone of the city is almost like a character, and what it does is it kind of drives the story. Not much hope, and the criminals are in charge, and the mob rules it. And essentially in The Dark Knight it's the same thing, but the city is more of a character in the Batman. So I'm going with the Batman. If you can count, that brings us to 4-4 with one left. So this one will decide the winner. Action sequences. In the Batman, we got kind of an action sequence at the beginning, where he beats the shit out of those people. You got him kind of flying off the police building, which is fucking cool, and crash landing down there. And then, the other scene that stands out is the ending scene, where the city's kind of flooding and Batman is, taking out all the Riddler's acolytes and, jumping from, kind of hangar to hangar. And it's pretty good. It's really good, especially, with the electrical equipment falling towards the water with all those people, and Batman, essentially sacrifices himself, but he lives, obviously. So great action sequences in the Batman. Versus the Dark Knight, where there's more memorable action sequences, I think, in the Dark Knight. Mainly when I think of an action sequence in a Batman movie, now what I think of is, the car chase scene or the truck chase scene where Joker's on the motorcycle. I just think that's so fucking memorable. And then you got the action sequence in the warehouse when the Joker's about to blow up the two ships, or make the ships choose which other ship is going to blow up. So I really enjoyed the action sequences in both movies, but if I'm forced to choose, especially to choose a winner here, I'm going to go with The Dark Knight, which means The Dark Knight wins. Now, it's funny because I actually like the Batman more than The Dark Knight. But when I broke it down here, I came to the conclusion that I think The Dark Knight, as of right now, is probably a better Batman movie, even though I'm a bigger fan of the Batman. And it's all kind of taste, everything's subjective. So, that is my list for today. That's my video. Let me know what you guys think and tell me which of these two movies you would choose as your favorite or as the better one. Thanks, guys.